morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. My name is Leticia. Welcome to the channel. Hi. Today, we're here to talk about something actually very important. The problem with decluttering, excessive decluttering, and minimalism. And if you're interested, if you ever tried it, and if you feel pressured to do anything like that and apply anything like that to your life, keep watching. You are in the internet, you are in YouTube, Instagram, so I am like 99% sure that you felt or feel pressured to get into minimalism, declutter your wardrobe and your life, and that's great in theory, but the thing is, everything that is too much is a problem. Everyone knows about it. But when you start to get bombarded on every place you look to do a certain thing, then it becomes a problem, right? Because then you're not doing it because you want or you have an inner motivation or a reason. You just feel like you have to. Just, not to be the weird one out. But even though decluttering and minimalism sound perfect, sound great, and they can be, like, it can be really cool and really great techniques to improve your life, it's not a way for everyone. Not everyone will benefit from those statics, from that behavior. Not everyone is meant to be a minimalist. Not all people's styles can fit minimalism. So just to clarify all of that, you dropped here and you don't know anything about it, you're lucky. I will explain to you then. Decluttering, it's part of the movement that's been happening, that everyone is shooting videos showing how they declutter their makeup collection, they declutter their wardrobe, they declutter their life, their house, everything. And you have movements that include the type of behavior like minimalism, which is basically
cat hair. No, it's not cat hair, but I have cat hair. Oh yeah, having a cat is a blessing and a curse.
So minimalism is a lifestyle, right? But it can be also an aesthetic, and things start to merge in a really weird way where you have to be one to be the other, but you don't have to. You can have a minimalist approach and not have a minimalist style, but they tend to get very mixed and merged in the, depth of internet and all of this, digital world and social media that we see. And decluttering is one of the techniques applied mostly for minimalists. They apply it to declutter the life, to make it easy, make it light, and it's great, and I do not disagree with them. I just think that it's a good tool that was created and then suddenly it was trendy and it got overwhelming because everyone started to do it, and then there is a big pressure for everyone to do it, and it's not the correct technique for everyone. It's not. There are some great schools of types of decluttering, like Marie Kondo, which love to her. I love the sparks joys, give you tingle kind of technique, and it's great. But it doesn't work for everything. You might need pencils and rulers, very common objects in your life that not necessarily are going to spark you joy, but you still need them. And maybe what you do with them spark you joy, making notes for something, writing in your journal. I don't know, it doesn't matter. You still need them, even though they are not the most fancy aesthetic or spark you joy kind of objects, you still need them. So if you go too hardcore in decluttering, you can get burned really fast. Not just by decluttering things that you shouldn't, but also mentally. It can be very taxing emotionally and also on your wallet because some of those things, even though they don't spark your joy, you will have to replace. You have to get something to replace it in your normal life, because we need toilet paper. It doesn't necessarily spark joy, but we need it. Jesus. Jokes aside, everything that is very excessive can be bad in some instances. So excessive decluttering and connecting it to hard or minimalism and almost in a moral ethical sense. So it's if you don't declutter, or if you're not minimal, you're not doing good for the planet, or you're not good enough, or you're not trying to save the planet, you don't care about anything. One thing is not necessarily connected to the other. There are many ways to do all of those things, and they not necessarily have to be connected. You can be minimalist and not care for the planet, and vice versa. Now that that's clear, I just want to conclude here that this pressure out there to abide by all of those things, like many other pressures that we see in social media, they're not beneficial. Free your mind from this. This is pure BS. we don't need it. That happened to the best of us. We got too hard on decluttering. We decluttered something. We felt good. 1 month later, or even sometimes less than that, we're like, shouldn't have done that. I regret that. I was a fool. How am I gonna find that thing? I need that thing in my life. I regret it so much. And that happens with many things, because sometimes in some techniques, like if you don't use it for 6 months or 6 weeks, I don't know how many, you should declutter it. How is that a thing? Like, some people, part of, inhabiting their own bodies is living with weight fluctuations, but for hormonal reasons. For me, that happens a little bit too. Some parts of the month, I can gain 1-2 kilos, and like some pieces of clothing might not fit me. And a lot of people gain weight during the winter and lose it during the summer. So you can't be like that attached to, I didn't use something for 6 months, throw it away. It's like, first of all, let me just tell you, there's no away, there's no planet trash can. Everything goes somewhere on earth. It might not be in your back garden, but it's in someone's back garden. Just to let you know, like, there's no throwing away. Everything is inside this planet and we have to deal with it. So before you just do those kind of things, think about that. So that's one of the downsides of excessive decluttering. People will regret it. I regret it. Many people I know regret it at some point. This is not a license for you to hoard everything and never detach from anything you ever buy or ever be given, and just have a closet that you can barely open and it's just like bursting with clothes and you can't even see what is inside, or in any other part of your life. Like, some people can't even go through their own living room with so much shit going on. This is not a license for that, okay? I'm talking about excessive decluttering, where you're getting rid of things that you will need later, or things that are actually special for you, like actually, the tingles. If that happens, we have our second point. Like, if you regret decluttering something or throwing something away, you will have to rebuy it. And your wallet does not appreciate that kind of behavior. You already spent resources buying something, okay? So you already have it. Or maybe someone else spent resources. It doesn't matter. Those resources were already spent, usually in cash format, and you already acquired something. So try to make the most out of it. I'm not telling you to stay with something that you hate. This is not the point, but like we said in all the videos, sometimes with minor adjustments, something can go from being something like trash for us to a treasure, right? So be careful about that type of thing. Just don't declutter indiscriminately. That's not good for you, for me, for the planet. Be very mindful when you're decluttering of seasons changing or habits that are seasonal. So, you didn't use this for 6 months, so it's time to declutter it. But maybe you only use it twice or 3 times a year. But when the time comes, you really need it. Be careful about that type of stuff. Consider your lifestyle, the things you might need, even though it might not be super frequent. It's still valid to have something, even though you're gonna use it only twice a year. You are going to use it nevertheless. This is also not a validation for excuses like, I will use this because I will lose 10 kilos and this will fit me. That's not what I'm talking about. Some people actually go through that types of change. That's one thing. Another thing is an excuse to keep something that is utopic self and not really something that is viable, okay? Be real to yourself. Be truthful to yourself. Lying to yourself is not gonna get you anywhere. Sorry. You can lie to me. Lying to yourself, like, sorry. So as we just kind of mentioned, there's no plan B, there's no planet B, like, you don't throw things away. So yeah, you're just piling up trash. And even though you're like,
But I'm donating my clothes.
I don't know if you know, most donated clothes go actually to landfills. They don't get used. That's a fact. You can search anywhere. And even when you say, oh, but they're going to other countries that need, they don't need your trash. Trust me, like, I come from a third world country, or whatever is the politically correct term. We don't need it. We also have clothes there. And other countries also don't need it because they have excessive, because people throw away too much stuff. They don't need it. You're not doing anyone a favor. Don't try to use that as an excuse. That's an excuse. That's what it is, okay? Discarding things, even though you're donating them, has to be a conscious act. Like, is this still in a state that someone actually can good use of it. And most times, honestly, I would tell you, sell it yourself to make sure that people are actually paying money for that. That means they are probably gonna use it because they're actually putting something in. They are actually giving you money, so they are probably more conscious about that decision. Another thing is, try to give it before selling. Give it to someone, or maybe selling to someone in your life, but that you know is gonna use. It's much better because then it's a direct trade and you know the person and you know if they're gonna like do something, you know, with that and actually make use of it. Before all of that, my first tip is try to change it and tweak it and make it your own. A lot of the times we are like,
if I did this tweaks here and there, this piece would be perfect. But then what if I ruin it and I don't like it and I don't use it? That I'd rather donate it so someone can use it the way it is.
Sorry, I used to think like that too, but that is not a good train of thought, and I will tell you why. Because if you do that, you have to still count that most clothes that are donated are still going to landfills because it's just a huge volume. Even though your piece of clothing can be in a very good state, it's still such a big volumes that the organizations can barely move through those piles of clothing. It might happen, of course, I'm not saying they just throw everything, but like they have too much to do, too much to work through. So it might happen that even though your piece of clothing is in a good state, people would actually just throw it away because they just don't have capacity to deal with it all. So the best thing you can do is use it yourself. So in order of hierarchy, what you should do first, you should, or at least should try to do first, which is better for you and for the planet. Try to use it yourself. Do minor tweaks, bring it to the tailor, change color, change fit, try to change styling. Try to figure it out. If you can't do that, give it to someone you know that might like that piece and might make use of that. Otherwise, try to sell it directly yourself. And if nothing works out, then you donate the clothing. But there is like a zero here, like one that comes before from all of those that you should do. If you sew, you can, after trying to tweak it, you might not be able to, or you might not know very well how to, not have experience or not have money to spend in tailoring because that can be a little expensive, but you can dismantle that piece and use it as a base to something else, which is what we call usually flipping. It can be minor adjustments or it can be big adjustments, like basically taking all seams out and just using the fabric. It's still better than throw it in the landfill, okay? So if that's the way to go, all power to you. So that's a bonus tip for people that actually sew and then can make their own garments. It's really very environmentally friendly. I'm not gonna spend, 3 hours here talking about the whole impact of the fashion and beauty industry in polluting the world. There's so many good documentaries out there that handle that. I can link some below on the description box. But just know that I don't want you to freak out and I don't want you to feel guilt and get depressed about it. But people don't think about their decisions, their purchase decisions, as much as they should. Tying back to other videos, being conscious about your style and doing all the homework to actually pin down what you actually like, what you're actually gonna use, and what is part of your style, what is actually you. It's also a good form of helping the environment. I know it sounds so much like an excuse, but if you actually know what you're purchasing and you're actually gonna use it after, you will purchase less because you're gonna, just roam in and make a perfect purchase, many of them, and you won't have to purchase the same items, wrong items, or variations of wrong items many times until you find the right one. Of course, you're gonna fail, it's a journey, we all know that, blah, blah, yada, yada. But my point here is that in the long run, you're gonna consume much less and your impact in the environment will decrease too. So it is good to be conscious about your choices in any department. We here talk about, makeup and style, and that's what I'm trying to help you guys, to empower you to make the right decisions, the best decisions for you and for the environment. But this is part of, or let's say it's a one way you can also help and participate. Consuming consciously will lead you to consuming less, which is, win-win for everyone. And you just heard now the term mindful consumption, conscious consumption. Well, those are key aspects of this channel. Even though I don't talk about them all the time, they are in our core values. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to empower people with knowledge so you can purchase what you need, what is actually gonna help you, what is part of your style, what empowers you as a person to make you feel confident, to make you feel the best version of yourself. So you won't need to try to fill the void and the hole with mindless purchasing. Just, shopping therapy. No, that's not what we want. That's not what we're here for. I'm trying to heal you. By healing myself. No, honestly, I've been through that. That's like why I can say with confidence, I've been that person and I'm getting better. And I want you to get better too if that's the situation you are in. Conscious and mindful consumption is basically just, being aware of what you're doing and not doing shopping therapy. Shopping and therapy should, never be in the same phrase together, ever. Jokes aside, actually it shouldn't. Shopping therapy, two words that should never be together. Shopping is not a therapy. Shopping can be fun, but it shouldn't be your main source of entertainment, okay? It's like you shouldn't eat because you're bored or anxious. You also shouldn't shop because you're bored or anxious and you have nothing better to do. There's so many cool hobbies out there, shopping shouldn't be one of them. Just a tip. And the mindful, conscious consumption is being aware. Being aware is intrinsically and directly tied to all the techniques we discussed in all the videos. So it's basically being sure, or at least trying to be sure and trying to be assertive about what you actually lacking and what you actually need. I'm gonna show this probably like more detailed in another video. Otherwise this is gonna be, just like a novel length video. And to conclude this video, if you have to take away anything, or just one thing, I encourage you to shop less. Decluttering, it's not the way to go. Decluttering is like a band-aid. If you have an addiction or if you have a problem where you shop too much and you keep doing declutterings and you keep shopping too much and you keep having to do declutterings, you're not solving any problem by doing decluttering. Actually, you're creating more problems, okay? So if I have to give you one thing to move on with, it's try to shop less. Anything less that you buy and you bring into your life, the better, okay? It will already make a huge change. And when you do, try to be mindful and conscious about it. Do I need this? Is this the thing I need, or do I need something else? Because if I'm just trying to, cover and put a band-aid, I will regret it later and I'll have to buy something more and more other stuff to, keep trying to achieve something that I know it's not achievable by any of these things, because what I need is this one. And you keep trying to cover up, that's not what you need. And with that, I thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, watching this video. That means the world to me. And most importantly, I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!